While talks continue quietly behind closed doors, the Islamic Republic of Iran's state-run media has gone on the offensive, mocking President Trump, glorifying terrorism, and even spreading conspiracy theories about the recent double murder outside the Capitol Museum, the Jewish Museum in Washington, D.C. Now, one of the victims, Yaron Lashinsky, wasn't just a random target. He was a known advocate for a free Iran. And now the regime is not only celebrating his murder, but also suggesting without evidence that this was a Mossad operation. Joining us now is Emily Schrader. She is a journalist and an Iran expert who knew Yaron personally and has been following Iran's propaganda strategy very closely, including the links between foreign-backed radical groups and domestic extremism here in the U.S. Emily, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Let's talk about how is, the Islamic Republic of Iran's state media framing this murder, and what message are they trying to send?
Well, from the outset, immediately after this happened, we saw a lot of pro-regime public figures, even journalists, spewing conspiracy theories that this was some kind of Mossad operation. And then a few days later, we saw almost all of the state-run media praising the attack explicitly and even saying things like Elias Rodriguez, the murderer, had created the Washington Besiege, so the IRGC chapter of Washington. Now, obviously, this isn't a formalized chapter, but we see that the media has been using this throughout to praise these attacks. And actually, this is very similar to what we've seen throughout these nuclear talks that the Trump administration is carrying out right now. When the Houthis, for example, in Yemen, another proxy of the Islamic Republic, fired ballistic missiles at the state of Israel, the regime responded by putting up a banner in Tehran in what they called Palestine Square, praising this attack and sending a message to President Trump. They've also published many cartoons demonizing President Trump when he made a deal with the Houthis in order to stop the attacks on the international ships. So we've seen a lot of warmongering from the Islamic regime in Iran, which is ironic considering that they're accusing the U.S. of warmongering.
Yeah, what is the significance of the conspiracy theories that they're now pushing about the Mossad, and what are they saying about Trump? Like, how exactly are they mocking him?
Well, like I said, they had a depiction of President Trump on a leash, being directed by, it depends, depending on the cartoon. Some of them are depicting the Mossad or the state of Israel controlling President Trump. Some of them are depicting the Houthis, putting their demands onto the Trump administration, which, of course, as we know, isn't the case. It's a lot of propaganda and a lot of ego because of what we see going on right now in the region. The state of Israel has been very successful in cutting down some of these proxies in the region. And so they're trying to maneuver themselves into a stronger negotiating position that they simply don't have. The reality on the ground today is that the country is crumbling. The country of Iran is crumbling as a result of the policies of the Islamic regime in Iran. And so they're promoting these conspiracy theories in order to drum up hatred. And it's actually really similar to what we've seen on campuses and from the Free Palestine movement. At the same time, they're claiming that there's a genocide in their victims. They're also praising the attacks on the state of Israel. So are they the victims or are they the aggressors? We see the same thing happening now. Conspiracy theory, but also claiming credit.
Yeah, you're right. Which one is it, right? You've looked into the background of Elias Rodriguez, the accused killer. What connections do you see between his radicalization and foreign influence like the Islamic Republic of Iran?
So similar to what we've seen on those campuses, some of these anti-Israel organizations are also, of course, anti-America, like the Answer Coalition. Other organizations are receiving funding from the Chinese Communist Party, as well as some of them have links to the Islamic Republic of Iran and other radical groups, including, of course, as we've seen in recent months, Qatar. So all of these are working together. There is a real, true Islamist alliance with these far-left radical communist groups, and it's happening first and foremost on our campuses, which oddly enough is history repeating itself. When you look back to 1979 and what happened in the Islamic Revolution in Iran, very, very similar trends starting with targeting the campuses. And that's being done by the Islamic regime in Iran as well as the state of Qatar on the Sunni Islam side. So this is something that we see happening and should be very concerning for anyone in America.
You met Yaron Lashinsky personally. Can you tell us who he was and what he actually stood for? Because Elias Rodriguez, who massacred him and Sarah, he was there to kill Jews, even though he was not a Jew himself. He was a Christian. But for all he knew, Elias, for all he knew, he was at an event at a Jewish museum.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, Yaron Lashansky, while I wasn't close to him, I did have the opportunity to meet him actually at a conference for Iran, for a free Iran. He was an outspoken advocate for this, for liberal democracy, for the U.S. Israel relationship, and of course, the state of Israel. He was a proud Zionist himself who served in the IDF despite being a Christian. He was something very close to his heart. And to see this happen, and when I found out that it was him, it was shocking. It was shocking for all of the community. And it just speaks to the fact that the targets of anti Semitism, in fact, aren't just Jews. They're targeting the allies of Jews as well. And that is even more reason why we must continue to stand up and fight against it as Americans, no matter what our background is.
You're absolutely right. And that's why I thank you for your work. Emily Schrader, journalist and Iran expert. Thank you for breaking down all of this propaganda. Sometimes this information is hard to find, but it's out there and you're exposing it. So we thank you.
Thank you.
For all our viewers asking where One America News is heading in the future, we would like to introduce you to OANN Live. OANN Live is the best way to stay up to date on all of the hard-hitting, straight-shooting, national and international headlines. And the best part is, OANN Live is only $4.99 per month. All the credible, honest, unbiased reporting One America News offers at a fraction of the cost of cable. Just go to OANN.com to easily sign up for OANN Live and stay informed.